So there are 4 options basically when you want to design your schema. Well, there are probably more, but sometimes you already know the schema of the table you want to create. This is completely fine. You know your data. For instance, you have an events table with an event time, a user ID, session ID, blah, blah, blah. And you exactly know the data types. You know you want to use the merge tree and sort by event time because you're gonna do like time series. This is totally fine. And once you have it, you can just start ingesting your data. For instance, I'm gonna ingest, let me make this smaller, 100 million rows, okay? Other option is you don't know the schema yet, but you have some sample of data. There is a describe command in ClickHouse. For instance, we're gonna use describe table from a Parquet file we have in S3. And this is gonna give you, let me make it smaller. This is gonna give you the different columns and the different types. It's not very good because it's assuming every column can be nullable. It's a perfect schema decision, but maybe it's not what you want. Remember the schema semantics of your data. There are other APIs for this. For instance, I'm going to log into Tinybird and I'm going to choose, for instance, this workspace, a Rocker workspace, and I'm going to do a request to the Analyze API with my workspace token and the very same Parquet file. And you're going to have a very similar result, but in this case, it's not detecting nullables, okay, in the data types. And it's also adding the JSON paths. We will see this in a later chapter, okay? Another option you may consider is using AI-assisted schema design. To be honest, this is very convenient to me. Let's try the very same example, create a data source based on this schema, and I send the URL. It's gonna do basically the same thing. It just detected we want to create a data source. It's gonna grab the URL and it's gonna call the very same API. And you have here the full schema ready to be deployed to your workspace, okay? You might not use sample data, but you can say, okay, create a data source for an uptime monitor analyzer, and based on the semantics of what you want to build, it's going to create like a sample data source. You can then refine and iterate on it, okay? This is an example. It decides to have a timestamp, a service name, a URL, the status, response time. It pretty much makes sense. So this is another way to start designing your schemas. There is another way which consists on using predefined schemas. For instance, if you go to tinybird.co templates, there is a template for OpenTelemetry. So let's take a look at how it looks like, because OpenTelemetry is a very well-known technology to ingest logs, traces, and metrics. And we already have, for instance, schemas that are already designed for this type of data. For instance, for logs, we have timestamp, timestamp time, trace, span, trace flags, blah, 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 with the proper codecs. For instance, for timestamps is using a delta codec, which is very convenient. The right sorting keys, you usually want to first filter by service name, then a timestamp, etc. Same with traces, for instance. In this case, it's using proper low cardinality data types. For categorical columns, again, compression as needed, and arrays and maps when flexibility is needed, okay? With this in mind, you can deploy the complete set of schemas with a single command, which is very convenient. So you can use TV Cloud Deploy and the URL of the GitHub repository, and it's gonna clone all the schemas, and they are going to be deployed to your Tinybird workspace or your local Tinybird container, okay?